Smuggling contraband is one thing, but smuggling iPhones is another. Airport officials and customs agents had several encounters with passengers trying to smuggle iPhones across the border. But then, the real issue here isn't the item being smuggled, but the despicable way most of these culprits try to conceal the phones. Here are 5 times smugglers were caught with iPhones strapped to their bodies. Number 5, 94-1. It was a crazy day in Beijing, China, when customs officials found a man trying to do the unthinkable. The crazy individual had tactfully strapped about 94 different iPhones to his body, forming a kind of body armor. Even Marvel's Iron Man would have been impressed with the way the iPhones latched onto him like glue. And just in case you were wondering, these weren't fake iPhones. They were all legit. Officers first caught sight of the mischievous culprit after he was found walking like he had something stuck up his ass. Think of Iron Man's footsteps for a second. This guy's own words is far worse. His steps were abnormal, making him seem like someone who had so much load on him despite the fact that he was traveling without any luggage. When officers saw this, they requested the individual to pass through a metal detector and the alarm went crazy. But frankly, nothing could have prepared them for the shocking revelation that followed. The guy had wrapped shiny iPhones all over his chest, abdomen, and thighs. In case you're wondering how the metal gadget stuck to his body so perfectly, it was all thanks to duct tape. The phones were carefully unwrapped and numbered 94 in total, with most of them being the iPhone 5S and 6 models. Their total value exceeded $49,000, though some experts suggested this guy would have made a whole lot more money. You see, at the time, Apple iPhones were hotcake in China. They were hugely popular, especially in China's mainland. Back then, an average iPhone 6 could sell for a whopping $1,000 in mainland China, making China a bountiful black market for smugglers and underground businessmen to exploit. Surely this guy had thought to cut out a piece of the Chinese iPhone market pie, only for his plans to get ruined by customs officials. Number 4, iPhone socks. Chinese customs had another field day when one desperado thought to smuggle iPhones into China in July 2023. The individual had been passing through China's Qingmao port, and at first glance you wouldn't suspect there was anything wrong with him. However, with their keen eyes and perception, officers could tell there was something off about the way this man walked. The fact that he had nothing on him made it all the more bizarre. Customs officials knew at that moment that something was fishy. Experience had taught them never to trust any load-free individual with an Iron Man walk. In fact, months prior to this incident, officials at the same port had the case of a man who was searched after exhibiting such an awkward walk, only for 360 CPUs to be found strapped to his body. And so, seeing this man, officers wasted no time to pull him aside for a brutal search, not minding he was 68 years old. That's when they found that he had strapped about 68 iPhones to his abdomen and lower legs. Now, we don't know if this man was trying to celebrate his 68th birthday in grand style, or if it was just a coincidence that the number of phones in his possession tallied with his age. But in any case, officers weren't ready to spare him. They quickly arrested him and dragged him alongside the tech gadgets into custody. Officials never revealed the genre of iPhones this man had on him or the market value of his stash. However, based on the fact that this was a fairly recent event, it's easy to predict that this man's loot must have been worth at least $50,000. Too bad it all went into the pocket of customs. Number 3, Bangkok iPhone smuggler. One airline passenger found himself in deep shit when he decided to join the smuggling party. Now, we don't know if this guy forgot that officers would be at their job posts or if he simply got carried away with trying to make some quick bucks. In any case, he had to answer to the law when officers pulled him to the side immediately after his plane landed. The incident took place at Kempegowda International Airport in Bengaluru, India, and the man had just flown in from Bangkok. The officials had been carrying out passenger profiling of everyone on the plane when they noticed this guy with his suspiciously big bag. They also noticed that he behaved in an unusual way, like someone trying hard to evade or avert attention. When the officers finally approached him for questioning, he acted very nervous. This prompted a search, and that's when they found 23 boxes of the latest iPhone. Each of these phones was worth a fortune in India, and so this was quite the loot. When asked, the suspect confessed that he had purchased the phones for a much lower price in the Thai capital. Further questioning also revealed that the man was affiliated with a gang and was probably on a mission to trade the phones and make profits on their behalf. But in the end, officers confiscated all the phones and arrested the individual. Just in case you're wondering, this incident happened back in 2022, and the iPhone model being smuggled was the latest iPhone 14. About 23 of these phones were seized from this guy, well worth a fortune. Another good day for law enforcement agents. Number 2, man taped iPhones to waist. Another Chinese man tried to pull a fast one on customs officials. The individual, whose name was undisclosed, was well-dressed and armed with a suitcase. In fact, on a regular day, you'd think this man was a law-abiding citizen, a true patriot. However, nothing could be further from the truth, as his actions proved him to be a crooked criminal. Customs officials had initially bought into his modesty and swagger. However, they began to suspect that something was amiss when the man couldn't bend over to pick up his suitcase. This was very odd, especially considering the fact that the individual in question was a young man. Little did they know that he had armed himself with several iPhones, about 30 of them. Knowing that iPhones were banned in China, he tried smuggling them in under his clothes. The phones were strapped to his waist using tapes. Customs officials discovered the phones after a brief search. They also found a few strapped to his ankles. Plus, even the man's shirts had customized pockets that enabled him to carry the phones without detection. In addition, there were also some iPhones stuffed inside his shoes, about 4 of them. Overall, it was a truly creative smuggling attempt. Too bad he got busted due to a simple flaw in his design. Number 1, iPhone woman. If you thought men were the only culprits on this list, think again. In 2017, one woman showed the world just how creative and desperate women can be in smuggling. When she tried to make it past the Chinese customs officials in Shenzhen, what was she carrying? iPhones. In fact, news outlets, when they carried this news, dubbed this woman the female Iron Man. Officers were shocked when they searched the seemingly innocent lady, only to find her loaded with over 100 iPhones. In case you're wondering what gave her away, it wasn't the way she walked or a metal detector. Somehow she managed to mask her walk perfectly. What actually gave the culprit away was her dressing. Officers reported that she was wearing way too much clothing than you'd expect for someone passing through a busy checkpoint in hot weather. The excessive clothing prompted officials to go in and have a closer look, further leading to the unbelievable discovery. The total number of phones on her was 102, the highest ever discovered on a single person. However, the real shocker was in the uncanny way this woman had concealed the phones. You see, officers had to undo several layers of duct tape wrapping, as the woman wrapped the iPhones all around her torso and waist in about 4 layers. It was like she was a suicide bomber carrying a heavy metal vest or something, but that's not all. What's even crazier is that this same lady also had about 15 luxury watches on her, all worth mouth-watering prices. Now, we don't know how she got her expensive loot or where she was headed, but it seems this lady was willing to cash out big time. Sadly, she ended up donating it all to the government, thanks to her arrest. That's all for this video. Let us know in the comments which of these busts was your favorite. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed this video. See you in the next video.